Hey everybody, what's up? It's GleeCon and I'm here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are in the middle of our massive journey through everything. This show is going to continue the World of Warcraft walkthrough. We're doing an Alliance Desolace run. We're pretty much completely done. We just did some grinding on the last episode where we took over 2 hours and we switched our reputation from being an ally of the Gelkis to now being an ally of the Magrum. And today all we have to do is complete that Magrum quest chain and then get ourselves shifted over and ready to start Razorfen Downs, which is one we'll drop tomorrow. So stay a while and listen as we take Glee Contessa, the human, Retribution Paladin, and have her run around and help the Magrum. So apparently there is a second Alliance quest here called Assault on the Kolkar. I don't even remember that was a thing. So we just have to go up and kill a few different kinds of Kolkar. And if you look past that, then we're going to have the stealing the crystals from inside this cave. Then we have to give the guy, the leader of the Magrum, a advanced target dummy, which we already have right there. And then we finish the whole shebang with... I do need to repair also. We should go ahead and maybe hit that up after killing these Kolkar. And then we'll have to run back in the cave and kill the leader of the Kolkar, of the Magrum. Sorry, of the Gelkis. And then finally they'll send us to go kill Hratha again. So before killing Hratha, we need to definitely go repair, sell, dump some of the inventory. So this quest is fine because the Kolkar, one, they're the easiest of the Centaur, but two, they don't affect reputation at all. We need to kill 12 regular, 12 scout, 6 maulers. We just killed the mauler right there. There are these battle lords we don't need. The maulers appear to be one step down from a battle lord. Scouts, I'm sure, have a pesky net and shoot you with an arrow combo or spear. Don't know. These maulers seem to have like a scimitar and a shoulder pad, so they're kind of like a mid-tier. Really mid, as the kids say. Yeah, so I don't, other than potential snaggery happening when we fight Hratha, I don't foresee there being any real issues in this episode. Yeah, just killing Hratha is the only one. And obviously, because of the RNG element, we could get terrible RNG. We got lucky AH. That's as heck for the dirty birdies out there. So if that balances out, then we'll probably spend 2 hours grinding for the mouthpiece. Hopefully not. Alright, so this is just regular Centaur. These guys look very similar to the Maulers, but they appear to be wearing a little hat, and we have a hatchet instead. And so I gotta look at stat priority for... So my question is, maybe someone listening knows the answer to this, and you guys can hit me up with it. So I wish there was a direct calculation for stat priority and what makes a better piece of gear. So, for instance, let's say I'm a mage and I find a piece of gear while leveling, so we're not level 60 yet. That is plus to spell damage. And then I have another piece of gear that's plus to an intellect. Spirit doesn't really matter to me as much because spirit only affects one thing as a mage, which I guess is your evocation. Also, if you're using frost armor, it will affect your passive mana generation throughout a battle. But that's all so minor that it wouldn't be enough for me to Like, it'd just be icing on the cake. It wouldn't be the ultimate ending situation. I'm gonna go ahead and start stunning some of these people. So I did notice that Repentance does put me, like, it breaks off the attack on my part, I guess, so that you don't automatically, immediately hit them and break the incapacitation, because I think it's asleep. I decided to start using some of these stuns to speed up this killing process. But anyway, I wish there was a way without, like, simming, because, not just because I'm not gonna go sim all the time, but maybe I could sim if there's like a not in-game way. I bet you there is. There's probably some mods that will do it for you, actually. I should just look that up. It's probably a mod that will, like, let you know if I equip this specific piece of gear, how is that going to affect my bottom line, like, right now? And then you can kind of do some of the calculations. Like, for instance, as a mage, sure, you want things, you want the other stats, they don't... But really, the only stat that matters is things related to spell damage, and intellect is. Because intellect increases your spell crit chance, and it increases the size of your mana pool. But that's what I struggle with, because my DPS as a frost mage is not tops. Whereas my feral character's DPS is through the roof, like, it's really good. And I think I just have a better understanding of it. First of all, I know that nothing else really matters outside of strength and agility. And I almost, in the leveling process, treat them about the same. So, agility is going to increase my crit, and strength is going to increase raw damage. So I feel like they're both pretty important. And I'll essentially just pick anything that has strength or agility. I treat them equally, and I will not pick any piece of gear that matters outside of that. And it has resulted in just some pumper DPS, whereas my mage, it's not that I don't know. Okay, go for intellect and spell damage above all else, and then if you have a little bit extra, sure, you can go for some stamina or spirit. It's when I have to make that decision between spell damage and intellect. And I know that spell damage is going to translate into greater overall, like, cast to cast. It's like, I guess, the difference between strength and... The problem is that you don't often get the same, like, easy, clear-cut choice. It might also just be that the damage is not ever going to be as good, because Frostmage has that built-in, like, utility. The fact that you're constantly slowing. That might be part of it. Alright, so we've almost killed our final Mauler. We have killed a total of... You have to kill a total of 30 mobs, which we know how quick that can be based on yesterday's episode. I've killed 18, so we're already past the halfway point. 12. I have not killed that. I've not fully fleshed out any one particular category yet. So, scouts, it looks like scouts are the one lagging behind the most, and honestly, I believe when I did this last time, it was scouts that were the last one. Well, Cork Gizzleton wants an ally. There's a scout. Let's go get him. Okay, we are up to 20 out of 30 now. 10 kills to go. I mean, whatever, yeah, these guys are pretty easy. Because we're back at the chain now. Dude, that was good. A 600 damage crit. That's pretty solid. And yeah, at least when we do our resto, I'm like, okay, well, I know why the damage isn't the best there. But one, because we just picked best in slot. Like, not best in slot, like best player available kind of strategy. So I'm going to be kind of a jack of all trades and master of none. And I'm looking for an overall solid character to come out of that. And it's, who knows, we might get there. Alright, so this will be our last destroyer. And then we're just going to need 4 scouts, 3 centaurs. Boom, boom, boom. That's a wind chaser, I guess, for whatever reason. We don't need wind chasers. Now we do not need maulers anymore. I guess this back half over here is mostly wind chasers and maulers. Fair enough. I guess you never need battle lords. They seem to be the toughest, and I think they're the ones that call for help too, maybe. There's a scout. Over yonder. So I did have somebody in the comments also say that Desolace is their favorite zone to quest in. So that's cool. I wouldn't say that it's... For me, there needs to be a few things that go right for a zone to be up there in my... Hey, this is one of my favorite zones to quest in. Most notably is... The most important thing I would say is quest design. Because that's what I'm all about. So it has to be well designed from a questing angle to even make it into that conversation for me. And the second most common thing, I would say, the quests would become quest storyline. Are the quests after design, are they compelling? That's my second thing. Notice a theme here. I'm mostly into the quests. Then third, I would have to say, is character aesthetic. I mean, not character aesthetic. Zone aesthetic. Does the zone have a nice appeal? Alright, so how do I feel? I'd say those are my big 3, and then after that, you could get into some nitty-gritty like monster composition. Are they a pain in the butt? Ooh. Band of Thorns, that just gives 6 spirit. Trash. Buffled. Just give a little buff to that rogue out there, since they're in the middle of that escort. It's probably not as good as actually helping them with the escort, but... Alright, so, well, Desolace, first of all, for quest design. Alright, well... I do like how the quests are... It's not the worst. I like how they're centered around, for the most part, certain areas of the map, and you can clump them together. However, they are spread out, and they often have you... Okay, that's it. That was our last one. And they do have us, from time to time, going back and forth across the map in an annoying way. So you lose a little bit of points because of having to go across big distances on the map, which there's probably almost no zone that doesn't do that. But even worse, what's going to kill us is, one, the mandated grinding if you want to get both factions. We lose some points there, just because I think that's an oversight, and the reason why I believe it's an oversight, like, I think they originally intended it for you to not be able to do both factions. I don't think they ever envisioned anyone doing both, because one, they made it such a tedious grind to do that, and two, the finale has you killing the same mob. So how, from a lore perspective, can you kill the same leader of the centaur twice? So it doesn't make sense, which means I don't believe that was intended. The second reason that I believe is an oversight or something they wish didn't happen is it's retconned away in Cataclysm. You can't do it in Classic. The Kolkar fear you now. I hope you laughed when you killed him. It is better to laugh when you kill so the enemy can see he is weak, okay? The Gilkis think our centaur mother Tharadris protect us. They are stupid. No one protects the centaur. The Magrum do not need protection. We are the strongest. Show the Gilkis they are stupid. Go to the cave in their village. They hoard crystals in that cave, the tears of Tharadris. Destroy the tears and bring me the broken pieces. Okay, so now we're going to go over to that cave. This one's not as bad because you just really need to get to the mouth of the cave, and then you only need 3 broken crystals, so not too shabby. Alright, so overall, I would give this maybe like a C plus B minus. The distance that you have to run, because particularly as Alliance with the extreme location of the questing hub, combined with the idiosyncratic quirk of needing to grind out the full Magrum and Gelkis rep, and to top it all off, the annoying nature of chasing and waiting around for the Gizmo caravan makes this... Those are none of them deal breakers, but they do add a level of tediousness to this zone that can make it seem to overstay its welcome. On the whole, though, the rest of the quests are pretty solid. There's not a lot of tedium, and they do have some clumping, so they do have some positive things. And Classic WoW, there's almost no reason to... there's almost no zone that can escape committing some of these, in my book, cardinal sins. The cardinal sins of questing. Alright, so then that's part 1. I would give this like maybe, like I said, a C plus, B minus, kind of that area. Alright, what did I say was next? The actual storyline of the quest. Well, I kind of like the idea of the Magrum warring at each other. That's fine. I kind of like the idea of us having to deal with the Twilight, the Burning Blade, or whatever they are, in the Thunderax Fortress. I like how there's that tie. I like the idea of the demigod Tharadris, this being the homeland of the Centaur, and there being, you know, different things, the Path of Bones that tie into that, Maraudon tying into that. So, as an actual, like, lore, basically. Overall lore, I like this zone. It's pretty good. So, I'll give that, like, a B plus, A minus kind of category. So, if you average out, I would say, so far, just from quest design and lore, we are at about, like, a C. I mean, like a B. Which is solid. And then throw in the aesthetic. This is where it loses me. A rainy wasteland that looks like it comes out of the land where light doesn't touch or whatever in Lion King. I don't hate it because there are some elements too of the ocean and there is that Lion King kind of vibe behind it all. And that's actually kind of cool. So, I can't complain about that. Yikes. Yeah, so this is not ideal. Gonna burn through my mana and stuff. Just trying to get there. Okay. Alright. I will survive this fight, which is actually pretty sketch, that I fight 3 things, 2 of them casters, and the results are me getting... I mean, that was close. I didn't have to use anything special, but not the best. 10:30, yay. Oh, because there must be a... whatchamacallit. There must be a world buff coming out. That's what the game's about. Alright, so then, as far as that goes, like, again, I don't hate it, but it does nothing for me, really. Whoa. What the heck was that? My character, like, ramped up and flew off into the air. It is, there's like a little invisible pixel right there. Right in this spot. Yeah. Maybe I jumped at the same time. So I would give that a C. So averaging out, if you gave, let me think here. Again, you know me, I like the math. So if we're going to take, let's say every grade can be given a total of 3 points. If we're talking about like a letter grade from school. So if every grade is worth 3 points, and there are 5 grades, there's a 15-point scale. 15 possible points, but that would be assigning an F minus. Still gets 1 point. Okay, fine. And that means an A plus would get 15 points. Yeah, so we did have to killing those guys on the entrance. If you were patient, you wouldn't have to kill. And you could try to kite or incapacitate that mob right there. So it's not impossible to grab these, like I talked about before. You can grab those crystals if you don't want to have to kill. It's possible. Going back in there to kill the boss, that's a whole different story. Alright, so then if that's the case, I guess a perfect score on those 3 things would be a 45. And that means we got, I said, like a... one of them I said was like a C plus B minus kind of borderline. So let's give it a B minus. And then for the lore, I said A minus, B plus. We're going to give it a B plus. So we'll skew down. That's how we'll kind of split that average. So a 12 would be a B plus. And a 10 would be the B minus. So that's 22 points. And then we just give it a flat C right in the middle, which would be 8. So 30 points out of 45. So it's basically a 67% of the potential points. Or, now let's go back to the... you divide that 3 ways, and that gives you 10 points, which... that's an average of a B minus, right? Because F6, 9, yeah. So I would give, based on that math system, a B minus to Desolace, which is still fine. That was kind of fun. So me doing a ranking system of based on my liking of the zones, I kind of like that. I like this, and I think that if I get stuck flying around, I could see myself wanting to go back. Ooh, there's some iron up there, and do this for the other zones to rank them all. I mean, you can kind of have a gut feeling, but it's nice to have numerical justification backing it all up. Oh, our mining hit 200, hooray. So that's a new threshold. Maybe that will allow us to do true silver now. I don't know. I don't know what the cutoff we're waiting for is. Oh, it stopped raining. That means we can now climb and not slip. That's my most hated thing about Breath of the Wild, and even more so about Tears of the Kingdom of Zelda. Oh, so here, I had another idea. You guys, anybody in the comments that listens and wants to read and hit me up, I have an idea for a spin-off show, for something to maybe put on the Patreon. To alternate this, to do this, in addition to the Assassin's Creed. So I I love to do things in order and compile these great big lists. And I saw, I went, you know, when I was doing a wiki hole kind of search, I wound up looking up what are the best games, like the game of the year, unanimously rated game of the year type situations for each year. Because you just feel like when some years, when certain games came out, it's like everybody knew, oh, that was the game of the year. If you are not our enemy, then you will do what I ask. You got the tears. Now the Gilkas will know that the Rajas will not help them. She will not cry when we crush them. The Magram will rule. You are smart to help us, Glikantessa. We are the strongest. Okay, Gizmo for Warug. Long ago, a little gnome came to Desolace. He had horses and the cart held strange things, funny things, things that burned different colors, things that moved and weren't alive. I killed the little gnome, but before that, he made me laugh. I kept my favorite thing from his cart. It was a human made of wood and it waved at me until I hit it and broke it. I want a new one. Get me a new one. You are not my enemy, then you'll do what I ask? Yes, this is what I had. I will make it move again. It makes me laugh. Okay, so you can see, let us see the wooden human wave. And you can see him, his little hand twirling around, advanced target. It says it's Warug's target dummy. Then it blows up. That was funny. Funny wooden human. These guys seem dumber, but also more fun. You helped the Magram and I like you. Now kill the Khan of the Gilkas. He is Khan Shaka and I want his head. I want to stare at his head and laugh at him. Okay. Kind of weird. Alright, so now we're going back into the cave. If you do not have an advanced combat dummy, maybe you can get someone in your guild to give it to you, because as I showed a couple episodes back, you buy that thing from the auction house, it's going to cost you about 5 gold to complete this quest, so not at all worth it in any way, shape, or form, unless you're a completionist like myself. If you're an engineer, cool. Make one for yourself. Look at that. XP. We are also sitting. We are 3,200 XP away. That's awesome. That means that we're 100% going to level up in the process before we go do Razorfin Downs, which will be the next episode. Alright, before I start breaking down, so anyway, we have the spreadsheet to work on too, but it's going to be very linear, so we'll work on that at the end. Or at just some other point. So anyway, like I was saying, there's just some years where like last year, for instance, pretty across the board, Elden Ring was considered, the best game of its year when it came out. I'm trying to remember some others. I kind of feel like when the Batman game, one of the Batman games, or the Spider-Man games, like some of these superhero games, when they came out, they were pretty much considered game of the year. The God of War games, when those used to drop, they were pretty much unanimously voted game of the year. When Final Fantasy VI was in its heyday, that was considered the game of the year. So there were just when Breath of the Wild came out, it was pretty much unanimously considered the game of the year. So there are these different years where it's a clear sweep, and then the other years not so much. But what I thought would be a fun kind of side project would be to go back and do a little show where we not necessarily play and beat, depends on the kind of game, but play through year by year every single game of the year. And some of these would be extensive long-term projects. Yeah, like last year, maybe it was Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know. So some of these are, some of this would be projects. Some of it, there was no unanimous game of the year. So in which case, I would, we would have to go back and look at, were there some close contenders? Is it a tie? Are there things that, we'd have to set up criterion for this show. And I would want to go back. I'm talking about going back to the start of time on this. I do not want to fight that cluster right there again. See, just a little patience makes it at least to where we only have to fight one. So, for instance, this would start... I mean, I'm talking about doing my GleeCon style of And I'm not going to drop the Assassin's Creed. That's still going to occur. And I wonder if World of Warcraft ever got that sort of vote. I don't know that it ever really truly did. Because it's not that style as like an international game of the year kind of thing. Not international, but like spanning across consoles and genres. It's not really Blizzard's thing. So I would start this project, and that's another thing, is where do I start it? Well, I'd want to start it as early as possible, because I think part of the fun is treating it like a kind of a throwback pod, which is another pod that there's a podcaster that I listen to that does sports, but he also has a side project that's a throwback pod where, I don't know, they talk about things from like the 90s, music and movies and whatever. It's like a 90s fanboy pod. So anyway, I would want to start as close to the beginning of like recorded. Notice also, since I'm not a rogue or a druid, I couldn't get it. I didn't have either of my stuns on cooldowns. No, I forgot I was fighting wind chasers in here. I gotta save some stuns for them. But yeah, like we've got to fight our way into this cave. So anyway, if we go back to the beginning, the earliest time when Game of the Year awards were either given out in that year, or when sites have gone back and said, in this year this was the best game. The earliest game that can be sort of thought of like that is 1971, and I kind of feel like it's like a legacy sort of thing. It would be the Oregon Trail, but not the Oregon Trail that maybe you or I think of. The original Oregon Trail was a text-based, you die from, it's all the things we're used to, but no graphical elements behind it yet. That didn't exist, and that's kind of where a lot of the lists that I read used this Oregon Trail 1971 as the cutoff, as the beginning of kind of modern gaming. Because before that, you can go all the way back to, I can't remember if it was 1948, or maybe it was earlier, maybe 1955, I can't, oh crap. Hey, well somebody must have recently killed this. No, do not! Yeah, someone must have, oh no, we're not in the back of the cave yet. Not even gonna, I just want to use that stun so I can get it. I didn't get it off in time. I thought this is where it's at because this looks like the same setup as the boss, but no, we're not back there yet. We have to keep going deeper. Anyway, so before that, games, oh my gosh. See, this is going to be a bad situation here. I can already tell. Okay, so my mana's very low. I'm going to use one of these. Okay. Alright, so... Nice. Man, I don't know how I can get out of this. I can use my lay on hands if needed. I'm probably gonna have to. Yeah, had to use lay on hands. It's tough. Okay. So that was just bad luck where that guy chained when I was already not at full capacity into two of these, two of the earth callers with minions. Just a bad sitch for me. Yeah, so anyway, before that, you do have other games that existed, but they were like all, like cathode ray tubes. So things that you can't in any way, shape, or form actually play a game that is like that. Still, even Oregon Trail, like it would be hard pressed. And then shortly after that, the next year Pong comes out, so you could definitely find some kind of Pong emulator, for sure. This is where the boss is right here. So this is where we'll fight our way into this guy. We're gonna make sure that we are at capacity before we do that, though. We'll eat one of these. I do have a scroll. I don't think I need that. I do want to drink some water. Now we're on to our nectar over here. Our potions are about to come off cooldown, so that's good. We got plenty of these now. Alright, yeah, so... Now, some of these things we would just play for fun. And by that I mean, like, we're gonna just play it quickly and then move on. Because, like, Pong, for instance, you're not beating Pong. I don't know the original Oregon Trail, what's the RNG element look like? You know, is that something that has to be worried about, you know? Alright, so this guy has 2 Marauders and himself. Again, nature of this quest makes it a lot more difficult to work this one out. I don't want this guy to run. Nice, we got a crit. Alright, so we're gonna go in there swinging heavy. I've got 2 minutes left on this cooldown. That's not really as important. We do have some mana potions. Do I have better ones? No, I guess these guys don't really drop that. Alrighty. Okay, here we go. Let's go for it. I used my stun a pinch too soon. Maybe I got it. Okay, so he's running. Ah, look at that, I leveled up clutch. Okay, so that was a clutch leveling up opportunity for me. And we did this last time. So now we can give... Oops. Was paying attention to my thing. Alright, so I already on the lot, because we've actually leveled up a decent amount lately. This whole chain is about to be done, but we can give our final 3% more mana. So we are maxed out on Ret. Which is cool. Alright, and we're out of here. So now, we also can get those talents going. For the next 5 levels, from now until 47, we're going to increase our strength. And then, for 5 levels after that, we're going to increase our intellect, which is just going to increase our magic pool. So, for the next 10 levels, from 42 to 52, we're just increasing pure stats. That's cool. And then, after that, at 53, we'll finally gain Consecration. So we're 11 levels away. We are fully done as working on Retribution. Alright. I thought that I had him in my sights. One more hit. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, some of this I would... Whoa, that person just spawned right there. This is annoying to try to fight our way out of here. So, it would start obviously with some old ones, and you know, I'd play through some classics like Donkey Kong, the original Zelda, and I wouldn't do it in the crazy way where I'm like, okay, well, oh, guess what? They picked Final Fantasy 2 as the game this year. That means before I even play that, let me go back and do Final Fantasy 1. I wouldn't do it like that. I would just do it as like a trip through time, saying this is what the world was experiencing, and this is what the peak of gaming was essentially considered in 1971, in 19, and so on and so forth. So I thought it would be a fun little project, and many of the games might be only one episode, and some might be longer, some to do and I don't know that I would do like a completionist playthrough, unless the spirit took me, because some of these games are big, and also, and I would say there are some that are going to be like subject to opinion. Like for instance, when you have, I don't know, I'd have to really look at the list, but I try to think about some of the, oh, you know what we've got to do? We got to get our fishing on too. We just leveled up. Let's go ahead and take care of that as well. So, like I remember looking at the list and being, and now I can think of some glaring omissions. Like for instance, Tears of the Kingdom was not on the list, whereas I feel like that was probably on some major Game of the Year lists. Off the top of my head, I don't think any of the Grand Theft Auto games that I see on any of the lists. However, we know that those games were big. So, man, my Wi-Fi has just been slow today. Actually, past couple days. Alright, so, like, best... there's a few ways we can kind of look at this up. Best... or Game of the Year for each year. Let me add it to Video Game of the Year, so they're not going to pull me like the... Yeah, see, like Witcher 3, that definitely was part of that. And some of these games I will have played, and it will be... So if you look at Wikipedia, it will bring you to a list, a Game of the Year award. So it will tell you, starting in... It basically gives you a bunch of different companies that offer Video Games of the Year officially. Uh-oh, our fish is getting away. I don't like that. So there's BAFTA, which is the British Academy of Games, which begins in 1998 with GoldenEye. Makes sense. That was a good game for the time. You have the Czech Game of the Year, which begins with Mafia 2 in 2010. You have the DICE Awards, which in 97 they give one every 2 years. And they also gave their first one to GoldenEye. So that would be probably a game that we play. There's the Electronic Gaming Awards. It used to be called the Arcade Awards. 1979 is when they began it. And it began with Space Invaders. So let's see. If you get up to that 97, 98. Oh. I see. It was the Arcade Awards. And it goes from 1979 to 84, and then it stops, and it just gave a couple in 92 and 93. The Famitsu Award begins with Dragon Quest. This is probably a Japanese-based place. Oh man, I don't like that our fishing is not going good today. And again, they have a big jump from 91, then it comes back in 2004. So it makes this hard. The Game Awards begins in 2014 with Dragon Age Inquisition. Game Developers Choice Awards, 2000 with The Sims. Golden Joystick Award, 1983 with the game Jetpack. And let's see, in 96, 97, they gave it to Super Mario 64. But they do have some of the Grand Theft Auto games on there. The Japan Game Awards, in 96 it begins. We have 1 point of fishing done. With the Sakura Wars. And then Final Fantasy VII was their second one. Okay, also a pretty great game. The New York Game Awards began in 2011 with Skyrim. Obviously, that game's pretty dope. Spike Awards does have San Andreas in there, and Madden. They start in 2003 with Madden. The South by Southwest Gaming Award starts with The Last of Us in 2013. Okay. The VSDA Awards Starts in 82 with Pac-Man, but then doesn't put another one on until 93 with NBA Jam. And that's it. Now what are those? Those are organizations. So then if you look at publications, Ars Technica gives their first one to Dishonored in 2012. Destructoid starts in 07 with BioShock. Easy Allies, 2016 with The Last Guardian. Edge, Ocarina of Time in 98. Electronic Gaming Monthly, or EGM, 88 with Double Dragon. So that's a pretty good one, because that one is a historical one, and they've been cranking one out since 1988. And in 97, they too gave GoldenEye. So if there are these consensus best game evers. Empire gave theirs in 2014 to Dark Souls 2. Entertainment Weekly, also 07 with BioShock. But like Entertainment Weekly, what kind of Eurogamer Unreal Tournament, 99. Game Informer, which is my favorite digital magazine, started in 92 with Street Fighter, and in 97, they gave theirs to Final Fantasy VII. So, not GoldenEye. There's some stiff competition that year. GameSpot, 96 to Diablo. Pretty dope. Dang it. Game Spy, the Unreal Tournament, that's another one. Games Radar, Twilight came out in 06 with Twilight Princess. Gamist, 87 with Darius. So we can start to get kind of old here. But they end in 98. Game Trailers, 05 with Resident Evil 4. Giant Bomb starts in 08 with Grand Theft Auto 4. So they're making the list. The Guardian, I think that's the San Francisco newspaper. 07 with Crackdown. Hardcore Gamer 012 with Far Cry 3. They're still producing. And for instance, they gave Alan Wake 2 is theirs last year. Okay, IGN is Halo Combat Evolved in 01. I'm just going through the list here so you can kind of... Kotaku 07 with the Phantom Hourglass. PC Gamer gave theirs to Skyrim when they started. Polygon, The Walking Dead in 2012. Telegraph 08, Fable 2. So we're almost to the end of this list, and I'm going to show you some other things that I'm considering. Time is Wii Sports, US Gamer, Super Mario Maker, Yahoo, Super Mario Galaxy, and then see also. Okay, so that's the different companies who gave them up. But IMDb, and I'm going to come back to them last, beginning with 1971, has a list where they have noted every game of the year, which is interesting that IMDb is doing this. I always thought that was like a movie database, but apparently they also do video game things. And the neat thing about the IMDb is it's also tracking not things that were considered game of the year at the time, but like almost posthumous games of the years. Which is like games that where people have gone back and said, like Megalists, the best top 100 games of all time, yada yada yada, have come back and picked it. Every game of this Reddit says every game of the year award winning at the Game Awards, but this only goes back to 2014. Okay, and see, a lot of them, every game of the year game and where to buy them. Yeah, see, that only goes back to this official from 2014 when they start doing this game of the year. Every Metacritic game of the year winner. And how old is even Metacritic, you know? So, Baldur's Gate 3 won theirs, and that's going to be sort of like IGN. I'm not going to go through that entire list. We're at 2008. Alright, so if you go to Wikipedia back to where we were before we get into the IGN thing, you can go down a wiki hole also, and there is one said, list of video games that are considered the best. Now if you click that, this is going to give you the list, and now it begins. It has its own second list, and it says, This is a list of games that multiple video game journalists or magazines consider the best among all times. Any game listed on this list are on at least six different best of or greatest of all time lists. So, to me, and that begins with 1971's The Oregon Trail. And it goes to 1972 to Pong. However, it doesn't get another one until 1977, where it has two. So that means 73, 74, 75, and 76 do not have any games that made at least 6 lists. So then, and other than that, though, it's very, very thorough. And it gives 52 different publications. And I'm not going to read all 52, but here's a smattering. This is like while I'm watching shows or whatever, this is the kind of stuff that I'm doing on my phone while I have Netflix or whatever on in the background. I'm doing this research for what I think might be a fun product. I could put this, I don't really want to add this as a main thing, but I was thinking about putting this on the Patreon. But you guys let me know what you think about this project, because I'm getting close to telling you what I think I want to do. So, as an example, 1001 games to play before you die. Entertainment Weekly's list of games of all time. Game Informer did this twice. The games of all time. IGN has done this list 7 times. Sports Illustrated did one 3 separate times. Yahoo produced a list. So, for example, so that's an example of all that stuff. I need to put that spam. Okay, so my plan would be to use this as a tiebreak. Use that as a tiebreaker. And then use the IGN one, because the IGN one is very thorough. The problem with the IGN one is I don't know that I trust it fully, where it's getting some of its like numbers from. So what I think I would do is we could just go Game of the Year, or we could go through and we could do episodes where we play. We do like runners up as well. So let me find this. Okay. Now this is all Game of Thrones winners. Where's the list I have? There was a list that was just IGN. See, I found this IGN list that says all Game of the Year winners. But I don't think that's the same thing. Oh, we did it. We're done fishing, by the way. I'll look at that project later. I will not make you guys watch me fish anymore. I did one cast too much. My bad. Alright, let's get out of here and go back to tell him we killed Shaka. Then we're going to go march up and go repair and sell, because he's going to give us Hratha. We'll go start grinding out Hratha. Actually, we need to go up this way. Alright, so we're at 210 also with the fishing. We also can level up some powers. Where are we at on time? Yeah, we're basically coming in right at an hour, and we just have the Hratha part and the traveling left. Which that's fine. We ultimately we need to come back here. So I don't know. I think I might end our journey in Teldrassil, because we do have silk to turn in there, and I would like to at least turn in. We have 1 pack of silk we can turn in. So I'm thinking we turn that into Teldrassil. We have exactly 1.5. Yeah, and I've decided no more taking silk and making it into bandages. That was a terrible idea. We could have been done with silk. So So I screwed that up royally. But we'll still get silk drops for a little while. Yeah, I screwed that up. So, as we walk here, yeah, so let me try to look at this list. Yeah, that begins in 2003. That's the official game of the year. I don't know where it's getting it from. I don't know why. Video game of the year. How about best video game by year? There we go. Best video games by each year. So IMDb is now, it's sort of treating, IMDb has more and more become an aggregator. Alright, so for instance, it has 5 listed in the, in 1971. The Oregon Trail, Computer Space, Star Trek, and the Galaxy game, and I believe these are all straight up text-based. Now, the reason why they're different, if you look even as early as 1970, I think what you have is games that are really designed to be on cathode screens. So the way the cathode screen basically would work, if you're not super familiar with it, it's almost like an arcade cabinet in the sense that, but the knobs and things, the tube is different. The actual, by tube I mean like they're not using necessarily pixels so much as they're using like cathode gas. I mean, I'm not like I'm not an expert on this field, but it's my understanding that they use like vacuum tubes and light tubes. Do task for the Magrum and I will help you. Shaka is dead. I will place his head on a spike and keep it with me so Shaka can see the strength of the Magrum. And Hratha. The Gilkis Clan is dead, and now the Maraudin will fall. Kill the marauding Khan, Hratha. To face him, blow the horn on the high bluff in the Valley of Spears. But to blow the horn, you need a mouthpiece. To get a mouthpiece, kill marauding Centaur. Keep killing until you find a mouthpiece, then blow the horn. Do this and marauding Centaur will come to the tower. Kill them until Hratha appears. Hratha holds the piece of a key. Give this piece to me. Alright, let's do the spreadsheet too as we fly, because as we run back, now we're going to go back to Nigel's Point to repair and get ready for our final journey on this quest. But let's get the spreadsheet up on the way. Why not? Alright, so coming over here, let's go find Desolace. I should go head out for the road so I'm not constantly aggroing mobs. Okay, so going to the top, we did Broken Tears. Actually, we did Assault on the Kolkar is our first one. Bang. That was the first one we finished today. Now we go back to the top, and that gave us then Broken Tears. Pick up, drop off. Then that takes us into Gizmo for Warug. Pick up, drop off. Like, this is what I meant when I said it's very linear. Like, there's no real thinking behind any of what we're gonna do. Then Shaka, just did that one. Pick up, drop off. Okay, and these two we haven't turned in yet, but now we're picking up Hratha. And we haven't finished it yet, but that's going to be a pickup drop-off on that too. And then we have to go back to we just need to repair. I'm not going to start this at 46%. That's crazy. Alright, so there's basically 2 ways we can do this. And I'll take input if you guys want, because I would want to make this a product that would be fun for everybody. I think it is. You may have even switched off this channel by now, and if so, I'm not talking to you anymore because you're already gone. But this might not sound like anything that's interesting to people that just play World of Warcraft. But it would be a way to. That's why I was thinking about just putting it on Patreon. So I have the Assassin's Creed, I've made it subscriber only, but I don't know how I could offer maybe I could do something that's different, so not just for subscribers. Maybe this could be... I'm not sure how I'd want to do this. Or if I should just throw this out there and make it like early access on the Patreon, but throw this out. I don't know. If anybody has any interest in this, let me know. And
what can I do for you?
I could just do early access instead of making it like a Patreon exclusive, if that seems something like that's interesting. So for instance, if I went on this list, now let's just go to 1997. I just want to scroll forward to see. The reason I like the IMDb thing is because it goes back to 1971. If I look at 1997, it gives Curse of Monkey Island as the #1 rated game from 1997. Followed by Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, Castlevania Symphony of Night, which I love that game, Final Fantasy VII, Crash Bandicoot 2, Broken Sword, Tomba, the original Fallout, Riven, Blade Runner, and down at number 11 that year is GoldenEye. So, what's the story? We saw that GoldenEye was ranked by at least 6 different companies as the #1 game that year. GoldenEye is voted a higher level game. We'd also just hit 250 on cooking, so we're doing great, and now beyond. These mithril-headed trout, I'm telling you, they're no joke. And if we wait, if I were to look at my other list, so if I go to list of video games considered the best, and I go back to 1997, I just randomly picked that year. I don't know why. Just because that was one of the first ones that jumped out at me. Okay, 97 has a crap ton of years. It looks like when you also see this when I'm doing this research, a lot of people talk about like what is the best year for gaming. 97 is up there. First of all, I was 14, 15 years old, so prime gaming, peak gaming point of my life. Second, let's look at what's coming out. Age of Empires, not my cup of tea. I never really played it, but I can definitely see the appeal. Castlevania Symphony of Night, essentially the best, in my opinion, the best Metroidvania type of game that has ever come out. Absolutely love that game to death. Think it's amazing. No argument about it. Making these stupid mage moves too. Didn't even gain one. So sick of turn. Oh, we got this ring too. Okay, I'm not really worried. Like I said, we're gonna use this in a mo. Okay, I think everything else is all right. I can smelt some mithril if we want. We can smelt a little bit here. I can smelt the iron. We get some stack. I guess so. Just to make room, we'll smelt some of this, but I won't actually mess with it until we go to Iron Forge. But sure, why not? Give us some room here. Diablo 1, yes, huge. Fallout 1, amazing. Final Fantasy Tactics is quite possibly my favorite video game of all time. I love that game more than anything. GoldenEye, great game. Gran Turismo, racing game? Not really a racing game player. Grand Theft Auto, that was the original one though. But I played it back then. Quake 2, not a big shooter, still liked it. Star Fox 64, super fun game. Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, Tekken 3. Tekken 3 is probably the fighting game I played more than any other game. Total Annihilation, I don't know. And Ultima Online and MMORPG out there rocking it. What a freaking year for games. And that just shows you every single one of those games is on at least 6 greatest games of all time lists. So I don't think we would do it justice to arbitrarily pick one. So for instance, if we go back to, you know what was not on that list? The Curse of Monkey Island. So IMDb has the Curse of Monkey Island. It is rating them this because retroactively, Curse of Monkey Island has a 9.1 rating out of 10 all time. And that does make sense. It's a kind of a cult classic, cool game. I'm not, like, I get where the scores come from. However, when it came out, it was not ranked as being in the conversation for Game of the Year back then. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Am I going to be doing a game that's the Game of the Year? So the cultural zeitgeist in the moment, in that year, is ranking the game as the best game that year? Or am I going back and saying, now with the, view from 10,000 feet of history, this game is considered the best game of that year? And even all that being said, I've never played Curse of Monkey Island. So, what makes it so good? What makes it freaking better than Final Fantasy VII? What makes it better? What makes it... I mean, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey is better than Final Fantasy VII? So then what do? Do I go back and I look at do I kind of cross-reference these to cherry pick? Do I play 32 games for the year 1997? Then this project would, like, never end. Do I just go and pick the top 10? Well, in that case, you can automatically see, like, let's say I said, okay, we picked the top 10 from any given year. Well, guess what? GoldenEye is number 11. So in that case, GoldenEye, which was ranked like in half of the publications as Game of the Year that year, would not even make the top 10. So because all that this is doing is ranking it best. But what's qualifies as best? So this is where now I'd have to say, like, even the Oregon Trail, that's only given us a ranking of 7.6 stars. So let's go back to 1997. Oops, sorry, I just ran into a pack of hyenas. Say it again. Mufasa. In, like, 1994, well, Earthbound is considered the highest rated game that year. I agree. Earthbound is in my top, like, 5 games of all time. Love Earthbound. Love that game. But at the time, it was panned. Not panned. It was just a nothing burger. It had didn't get scored. But let's say we go to this Curse of. So if I look at, let's say, Bushido Blade. So I can't look at Bushido Blade, but if I look at Bushido Blade and I say, what's the ranking of Bushido Blade? So I'd have to open up another. IMDb Bushido Blade. Okay, I'm in the town. Alright, so someone's recently killed these hyenas. I love it. Maybe I can find someone that's already done this. We need to kill the mouthpiece. We need to find the mouthpiece. So maybe someone is out there that wants to participate in this business. Because I see the dead hyenas. So somebody just did the escort, essentially, is what happened here. He disarmed me and netted me? What a absolute piece of crud. And I'm now at 22 with punching. And these wranglers going in my side. Oops. Dang it. Okay, I killed him. And here you have a mage going to do freaking Maraudon carries. That's what life is about. Just mages running through to do their Maraudon carries. That's all we do. I wish one of them... I mean, I don't have the mouthpiece, so I'm not going to be aggressive until I get the mouthpiece. Alright, so the video game Bushido Blade was rated a 7.5. So I think that... But then you go back up to number 1. Oregon Trail is a 7.6. So I think what this is doing is basically anything that got ranked a 7.5 or above, they're calling it a potential Game of the Year. So if we just use the IMDb list, now we're talking about, hey, what are all of the decent games that came out in any given year? Well, that's going to be a gigantic task for us to play them all. If I say we're only going to do games above a certain cutoff, well, then we're, like, for instance, 7.6 is Oregon Trail. Well, let's say I only want games that are ranked an 8.5 or above. Well, now I'm going to miss certain games. So it might be that we have to cross-reference these. Like, mix the two of them. So anyway, this will be the final decision where we come with a list. I don't want to skip any years, so I might do like a little mixture, like a hybrid thing, like, let's do all games in a particular year, and we call them like honorable mentions and runners-up that say get a 9 or higher, but we won't skip any years. So if the highest that a game got is a 7.6, like the year of Oregon Trail, we will at least play through Oregon Trail. Now, Oregon Trail, we could easily do that in one episode. There's more mithril. Oh, there's mithril in this iron. These wranglers are butt cheek. Alright, so I don't know. We're starting the grind here on this. We are at an hour 12. Oh. And we are just going to have to kind of check out and see. We have done this where we've spent a good hour grinding these out. If you remember, that's how we had to do it on one of our attempts with Bleak and Soul. And then, like, the last one where she got it on her first try, so... So anyway, I like this idea. I don't know, it's not one that's going to start yet. Because again, I don't want it to take away from anything. I don't want to stop the lore of Assassin's Creed. I think that's a fun little side project going. But I think there is still room also to try to squeeze in this, even if it's really, really small. Again, not in any way, shape, or form decreasing from what we do on this show. That's my biggest issue, is that I have these ideas, and I wish this could be my life, you know? Like, I wish I could design this, and I wish I had a producer to make good, to give this show the production quality that it deserves, and that we could do these ideas where we go and play through all of this stuff, because it would be fun. It would be like my hobby is becoming my profession, but you guys do have me there. We are in there, we are over 1,000 subscribers and continuing to grow, so I'm really stoked. It's now actually starting to show revenue. You have to make a certain amount of revenue. I think it's $100 before YouTube will actually allow you to fill out your forms and then cash you out, and then allow you to actually start getting a monthly stream of money. So we haven't hit that yet. But it took a couple days, but it's now actually starting to show revenue coming in. So that's pretty cool. And on some levels, you could say I'm an official, like, professional YouTuber now. Although on some levels you can't say that because I haven't hit the monetization, the revenue threshold to actually be allowed to have my money. All right, so we're collecting these scrolls. If we do have to kill Hratha, at least we are getting we're getting some things that will make that fight perhaps better. I'm a little bit worried. Well, if we have to solo it. I've soloed this before, but I soloed it on my Frost Mage, where kiting was an option. It took me a couple deaths, and I was able to, you know, like use Blizzard and stuff like that, like with some AoE, which we're not going to have those options. So I am definitely a little concerned. Whatever. We might not have to. We might just be able to have help. It's the mouthpiece. You really don't want to ask for help when you don't have any idea how long it's going to take until you get the mouthpiece. That's what's hurting me here. And you know you can get it both. We've seen it happen on this show. Look it up there. I mean, you can see that we're pretty much right there. There we go. Yikes. This is an interesting way to try to get this mithril node. Huh. Alright, well, it's helping our mining get higher. I'll take that, especially since we're going to be leaving this map soon, and this has been a pretty decent one for ore. Another mauler. Yeah, so that's it. So right now we're just in the indefinite grind. We do not know how long it's going to be. We are, at least we're getting XP out of this whole thing. We are sitting at, you need a total of 101,000. And we've gotten 8,000 so far. Okay. Yeah, so another thing, when I switch up there, it's potential that I could go to Devotion War. I just don't know, because I don't know what's going to be the best. Like, I hope I don't have to solo it. It's going to be a tough sitch if I do, because he really hits hard. The boss character, he's really strong against melee. But it's not really an issue right now since I don't have the mouthpiece. Yeah, so anyway, I thought this would be a fun idea. Some of it's going to be painful in the beginning. And yeah, the reason why I like the Oregon Trail cutoff is because that's the first one where you could actually place some kind of analog to what it actually is. There's just... anything before that is like things on... first of all, the list is not huge. You can go back all the way into the 1940s to research this concept of these different games, but the earliest games that were considered like games in that sense of the word were giant contraptions that the computer was the game and it took up half a room, and it used not pixels, it used like almost like playing a skee ball, little lights, and the first few games that came out were tic-tac-toe. And you would have to think that first of all, people beat the computer, quite easily, because the computer was most likely, I'm guessing, just randomly, almost like an if-then kind of Java situation, where it could just react to certain things. And then it would, tell you if you won or lost. That was the first, couple World's Fair. Even the first Oregon Trail, the one we're talking about from 1971, which is considered, it's on all these lists or whatever. It is borderline, in my opinion, to be considered, because it's included on all these lists because it's obviously so important. The Oregon Trail is it's a special thing in the annals of history, of video game history. But the way that the game was originally made is it would print out the words on the screen. There was no screen. You could type in things into this keyboard, really, and then it would print out on a piece of rolling printer paper a response to whatever it is that you're talking about. And it was all text-based. I believe that how fast you typed the word bang would dictate how successful your hunting was. And other than that, I don't know, there's probably an RNG element to it. So this is going to be quite an interesting experience. I'm sure we can find someone that has recreated this game. Now, there are many other... And then, I guess in the original story of the Oregon Trail, so first of all, shout out to old Minnesota there. It was a teacher in Minnesota that created this game. He wrote it himself, so obviously a smart dude. He wrote it for his middle school students. So the real first official video game of all time was made by made for and played by Minnesota middle schoolers. So pretty cool as far as that goes. And that's not counting those other things I talked about, those cathode rays or military. There were some cathode ray technology military war games that were created. So there are definitely other things out there. Some more mithril right there. But yeah, like I said, this first one didn't really have a screen in the same way per se, or maybe it did. But I know a big part of it was that it would print out whatever's going to happen next. I believe you had a set amount of days. There's an old game called... This was not the first text-based game. So people on the cutting edge of computer technology or whatever did have access to some other original games. Like there was a game called King of Sumeria or something like that. So it's another interesting story in the history of video games. So it's one of these pre-1971, so maybe it was 1970, maybe it was late 60s, I can't remember. But essentially, it was a text-based thing, and it was resource management. It's like the first ever resource management civilization builder style game. And you were the king, and you had basically a set stockpile of seeds and crops, and you had to survive 10 years, and you would be asked, how much seeds do you want to plant? How much of your crops do you want to give your people? And then it would tell you at the end of each year, well, this is how many people died, or this is how much your population grew. And that's it. And, I guess you would try to go for the best results after 10 years. So there were already some text-based things out there. And those are the real first games that were coming out. And I remember myself back in the 80s or early 90s, I took an elective in middle school. I want to say, let's say that this is around 1993. So I can remember at that point in time playing, I took a computer programming elective, and essentially it was pre-Java even. It was you would be typing these lines of code, and that would give you pigment, and the whole point of it was to try to create print pictures, which you would then print out. We got the mouthpiece, thank goodness. Okay. Okay, I'm also going to put this in group chat. Okay, so we shall see now what we shall see. We have everything we need. Multiple people running by me to do carries or whatever for Maraudon. Any one of them could just take 2 seconds and help me with this, but that's not what their goal is. That's not what a farmer, what a carrier's goal is. So that's another one of the frustrating things about this is, come on, you're telling me that I don't even know, but yeah, oh yeah, it's like a man that's dying of thirst just laying in front of a water fountain or whatever. Like, there are people, not to say that I'm dying or anything, like, it's fine, but there are people. Yeah, we got a helper. Look, it's like they heard me. Where the heck are they? Way over there. Cool. All right. So So now we're just waiting for them. Not a lot we can do, but with a level 60 mage, this is going to be like a pretty much auto. We don't have to do anything. Oh, look, I forgot I had that too. I should put some of my ore down there. This two-handed, the Stonecutter Claymore of the Bear. Pretty decent. So anyway, in that class, you would get free time sometimes, and you could play some of these really old games. Because you got to remember, even though this was 1993, you're playing in a 1993 computer lab in a public middle school. So I mean, we're talking about like whatever they had access to. You know, we're not playing with the brand new computers that came out that year. So, things hit me hard. Ow. Oof. Yeah, that lightning hurts. Okay. Go ahead. I'm not gonna. I'll eat some of my wild hog shanks that keep coming down. I mean, the good thing about a mage is that they can fly, boat, port, whatever. I mean, he was already right there. It looks like he maybe took a boat over, and now he's gonna fly. So it won't be that hard. And with level 60, I'm sure they have a advanced mount they can get there. Yeah. So I can remember playing some text-based games back then. So they were pretty cool. Like, they were still fine. If that's what you could get your hands on, that's what you could get your hands on. There was also like the shooter games. So there's all kinds of prototype of games that were available in that time period. And so there's some interest in that. Now, this Oregon Trail, I guess, is just hitting the list because there are actually, according to IMDb, there are 4 games that meet the cutoff. There is another game called Computer Space, another one called Star Trek, which I know the Star Trek game is also a typing game. This is all 1971. And a game called Galaxy Game. So I see in my situation here, this is why I like my hybrid rule where we go with what was game of the year, we look at those things, but then we also go back and we cross-reference with this list and we pluck out games that were, say, 9 and above. If we go back to our game of the considered best of all time, Oregon Trail is the one that this one considers for 1991. And Pong is for 1971, and Pong is considered for 1972. So then I go back to the cross-reference list. Well, Oregon Trail is the top of the list for that year. It was a 7.6. So obviously it's being included for its cultural import. Pong, also rated 7.6 for 1972. The only other game that was a 7.5 or above for 72 is one called Hunt the Wumpus. Well, we don't need to go back and play Computer Space, Star Trek, Galaxy Game, or Hunt the Wumpus, because they're going to be at the same level or worse than Pong and Oregon Trail. I actually had Pong as a kid. So Pong might have come out in 1972, but I can remember in 1987 or so 15 years later, because when Pong came out in 1972, nobody is walking around in 1972 actually having Pong. It probably came out on an arcade machine, and it wasn't. I had it in the Atari home console, not the Atari Master or whatever it was called with color. It was essentially Pong. That was the entire system. It was 2 joysticks, and I could play my brother, and I can remember playing when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. So up into 1987, 88, 89. I had this in my room, and I could play Pong from time to time. Now, the Oregon Trail, I've of course played iterations of that. I've never played the original, but I think so. When you think about the episode of the show, that could be a short one, because what am I going to do for Pong? First of all, it's a 2-player game. So how are you going to play Pong solo? That's going to be hard. And so we would have to find some emulator that would even allow us to play Pong against a computer. And you just, the first person to get to 11 points wins Pong. So it would be more like an exploration. Same thing with the original Oregon Trail. I think you had a set amount of days. And do we need to really take the old version of Oregon Trail so far that yeah, he's flying across right now to Nigel's Point. Where are we at? We're at 1 hour and 30. So this is good. We're there. So then when you go to now the other list, there was no unanimous games of the year again until 1977. So there was a 5-year hiatus where there is no consensus like, oh, you've got to play these. Well, I don't want to skip years. So then we look back. In 1973, the highest rated game was a 6.7 game called Space Race. The only other game that year that was even ranked is called Empire. I've actually heard of the Empire one. So in that case, we could just give a try to Space Race, 1973 game. 1974, Maze War. Again, not ranked, and it looks like it says you wander around a maze shooting at other players or computer-controlled robots. Players score points for kills. If they're shot, they are deducted points and transported to a random location in the maze. It's black and white. And what does seem interesting is it does start to have this corridor like the old Dungeons and Dragons games. So it's going to be interesting. But like we could do these short mini episodes where we find and play these old games. Then there's Dungeon. The only reason 1975, the only reason why I've heard of Dungeon is first of all, I'm pretty sure it's not necessarily text-based, but it's almost like ASCD or whatever that's called, where it's like what you can type on a keyboard has made up the whole map. But where I know it from is the book series Ready Player One. He talks about that game a lot in Ready Player One and the old floppy disk or whatever, because I'm sure this is probably a floppy disk game. So I would want to try it. just for that, just to experience that. That would be interesting. So already by 1975, I'm already now starting to get curious. Now 1976, highest rated game is Breakout. It's a 7.1, so I don't need to go lower to Snake and Cops and Robbers. The Amazing Maze game, so probably a spin-off of Maze War. But Breakout, I do remember hearing that, and I know it's an arcade game. It says you use a sliding paddle to bounce a ball against colorful bars at the top. So it sounds almost kind of like Arkanoid, which Arkanoid is a fantastic, cool shooting kind of game. And I like the idea of playing Arkanoid. Unfortunately, oh, my well-fed buff's already almost gone. As we sit and wait on these people. But so I would be interested to play a session of Breakout on camera. 1977, this is rating Combat 6.0 as the highest rated game that year. They're giving Combat and Zork. So this is the first time where I think we would say, okay, well, 2 games are listed. Zork is not rated on this top list. So that means Zork by fans in IMDb is scored super duper low. Okay, they're on their horse walking. I'm going to go ahead and eat one more of these just to give me that little well-fed buff. So I would say, okay, we'll play Combat. It's on the other list, and also it's on this list. It says it is 27 games in one. All are variations of tank, biplane, and sea. Now that would be fun, because that one we can make an episode where we go through and play a few minutes of each of the 27 games. That would actually be a long episode. And then meanwhile, we do a separate episode or a bonus episode or whatever where we also look at Zork. 28 is Space Invaders, and I think that's a 7.5 only, but that's a classic. Obviously, I've played Space Invaders. That's played from the arcade times. Makes sense. Asteroid, then, in 1979, equally famous. Pac-Man. So what you're noticing, all of these themes, and this is now 1980, these are all primarily games that even though you could maybe play them later on, they're all arcade games. So we can play different versions of them. 1981 is Donkey Kong. That is originally an arcade game, although we could definitely play the heck out of Donkey Kong. So in 1980, there's also Adventure, Battle Zone, Missile Command. So I'd say, sure, why not? Let's play all those games. 1981, they have Donkey Kong listed, but there's also Frogger, Galaga, Tempest, Defender, Centipede, Wizardry Proving Grounds. The first Wizardry game, I never played that, but I do remember playing Wizardry 5 or 6 or something like that. This guy says Desolace is so out of the way. That's why it is a pain in the butt. I do appreciate them coming through. Clutch for me. I mean, not a lot we can do, but... Now, again, if we got no biters and I got desperate, we could have tried this. If we started to get, 15, 20 minutes in, no one's coming to help. But this is the best way to do it. You just get someone to come help you out. And
thank you.
Alright, so we're going to come blow this horn, Little Boy Blue style, as we did on earlier, just a couple episodes ago. Last time we did it with a level 41 Paladin when we were level 41. And it was pretty, we made pretty light work of the whole thing anyway. Intruders at the horn! Don't let them escape. So it starts with a wave of 2. Just 2 con guards. And this person's called the Land of Fire. Alright, so now, kill the intruders! Round 2. Alright, and we shall kill them. And basically she one-shotted him. Okay. Cool. And here's the final dude. I'm gonna go right after Hratha this time. Because... yeah, let's just say, I mean... uh-oh. I am here. Come face me if you dare. So, she is killing... we got the Khan. Alright, we got them all. And that was it. We did it. That's the whole thing. They came in, blasted that out within a few seconds. It's all good in the hood. Okay, so now they're teleporting back up to Stormwind. So not only that, it would have cost them with the flight path and with the teleporting, like they had to spend some silver playing this. Now maybe they gained a little bit back, like sure. My share of the loot starts right here, 84. They're offering me the port, but it's fine because I have my Hearthstone set, which is my plan. I don't even know what I just did. Oh, let me help these people. Don't aggro them. Look at these multiple paladins. I'm gonna help them because this quest can be lame. So I'm just, yeah,
Out of range.
just to be nice here because I know how annoying this quest is, I'm gonna go ahead and aggro them out. And I'm gonna help them with the aggro. Alright, so I'm gonna go stand right here and wait for them. And we're gonna just see what I can see. I'm gonna see if I can offer any help, even though this might get me a little bit racked here. Because they will aggro in, and then... So if you can pull them away far enough, they will despawn. And that's... I'm just going to try to do that. I'm just going to try to pull them off. And I think they might be okay. I hope I gotta go back and see if that helped. Okay. just peeling off some of their... Okay. Alright, so got a little help there. Alright, I like how they said, thank you, Glee. Hey, I would be much appreciated if someone helped me with that quest when I was doing it, because that one sucks butthole. Alright, so anyway, I spent a lot of time on this side project. Sorry that it wasn't really World of Warcraft related, but we were going through the motions, repeating some stuff we already did. And this is just a project I think might be fun. Now, you could also really see this going down the rabbit hole. Because, sure, all of those things might make, like, cute little, like, one-off episodes for a decade. So you could get 20 or so episodes in. But you start to get to be, like, in 2022, now we're talking Elden Ring. So, like, you know, that's a whole game, like, playing through, which I love it. I platinumed Elden Ring. I love that game. It's not like a chore. And if there was ever a game that I would consider to be a chore, I would just probably play through, like, a part of it. Like, let's just do some play sessions. I wouldn't make this as OCD. Because, like, some of them on there are going to be, like, for instance, car racing games. Which, it depends on the game, but not my favorite genre of game. Or, like, flight simulators, like a Pilot Wings kind of thing. I don't hate it, just not like not my jam normally. Or fighting games. I like fighting games, but again, just not at the top of my list. Obviously, I most like RPG style games. Alright, so we're gonna go turn this in. And then we're gonna hearth back to Stormwind. So we do have some travel ahead. Which is fine. We have to go to Ironforge. I mean, we have to go to Stormwind. Well, we don't have to go to Stormwind, but okay, so that's what we really need to do is plan. We have to go to Ironforge. Because there's a quest we forgot to pick up there for Scarlet Monastery, and two. Oh, I forgot we also have to go to South Shore. So we have to go to South Shore, and then we've got to go back to... dang it, I went across the bridge. Yeah, we've got to plan our... We have some travel ahead of us, because we ultimately have to go back here to Darnassus, and so I can turn in the donation of silk. I want to go that path. And then fly from there back to Ratchet, so that we can be ready to go. Do what I ask. Prove to me that you're an ally of the Magram. Alright, so leather belt, we're not going to pick that up in an 11 point. Yeah, so neither of these are really great. So unfortunately for us, none of those are going to work. I'd rather have the Thresher Cape. It's stats. You gain a pinch of armor for this, but I don't want the intellect and spirit. I'm going to start trying to be a little bit more discerning. The belt is cool, but it's leather. But whatever, it is what it is. Okay, so one thing that we can do is... So I'm not even going to get to go to... Well... Okay, yeah. Alright. First off, let's go to the auction house. And look at this. Not a cult. The dead Tauren, naked Tauren just sitting on that fountain. It's kind of funny. Alright, so let's go ahead and post. Let's see, is there Scorpion Sting? Is that anything worth talking about on here? No items found. So we're going to make our own auction. I'm going to put this there. We're going to do this starting price. I'm going to do a buyout of 100. Let's just put 100 as the starting bid as well. 24 hours. Let's see what we can get. Maybe I'll be able to find someone that'll buy it for 100. I don't know. That's where I'm going to start on there. I don't know how much I spent. Hopefully just a few cents. But whatever. Alright, next, let's go learn... dang it. Let's go... there's nothing really that we need right now from here, but we can go learn our paladin powers while we're here. And then we're going to go take a trip over to Ironforge because we do have reagents for the Reclaimers and the Karnitol Shipwreck are both to be turned in there. Then we have to fly to South Shore to turn in down the Scarlet Path. Then we got to go fly back to the wetlands to get on the boat to take us over to Darnassus. So that will, 1, be back in Kalimdor, and 2, turn in the cloth. And that's where I will log. We will not do the flight together to Ratchet. I'll log off while that flight's going on. Okay, so... yeah, we're not at 240 yet, so there's no real... What the heck was that? Am I, like, out of... oh, it's weird. It almost seemed like somebody was trying to trade with me. Dave Power? Are you trying to trade with me, Dave Power? Dave Power. Alright, Catherine. Oh. Catherine? Oh, I must have been like on the pillar.
May the light protect you this day.
Okay, so what do we get? Consecration I still don't have. We now learn a move called Cleanse. It removes poison, disease, and magic. So it is an upgrade over Purify because it also removes magic effects. That's fantastic. It does cost 83, so this is just a straight up increase over Purify. So now we have Cleanse, totally new move. Why am I not seeing it? I don't see Cleanse. What? Why am I not seeing Cleanse on there? I learned a new spell, Cleanse. Holy Light. Oh, there it is. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's green. I just was not seeing it. I don't know. Okay, so now we've upgraded our Purify. Cool.
May the light protect you this day.
Okay, and upgrading Flash of Light now can heal to 221, which is a 50-point increase to life. Not the biggest thing. Flash of Light is almost useless for me, so...
May the light protect you this day.
Like an emergency thing. And my Seal of Righteousness, which I never use, now can go up to 43 holy damage from 40, and can go 112, 105, yeah. So I will learn it, but Seal of Righteousness is literally worthless. I don't know when I would use it. Okay, going down to Protection, we learn nothing in Protection. Oh, I see. Blessing of Sanctuary could be there, but I don't have that because I never picked that as it from the Protection Spear. Now, Blessing of Might, that's fantastic. 138 up from 102. That's a big increase to attack power. So now my favorite blessing is even better. That's a good one.
May the light protect you this day.
And finally, Seal of the Crusader, which I just upgraded again. Or no, I did that last level, but 254 melee attack when I'm using it. So that's over like 70 points. Up to 254. And now holy damage taken increased by up to 126, so 35 or so points better. So it's a pretty solid
So
freaking
on,
upgrade
friend.
for Seal of the Crusader. And I have that one buffed up. So we ended up learning 5 moves at a gold 86 per. So that's 5. That's almost 10 gold. 1470. So like 9 and 30. Yeah. So not the best, but whatever. All right. Now we're gonna go take the tram over to Ironforge. And because I want to, 1, mess with blacksmithing. 2, I want to we have those two quests to turn in, and we have that other quest to pick up so that we're ready for Scarlet Monastery, even though Razorfen Downs is what we're doing next. While we're taking the tram and flying around, I also want to make sure we take care of all of our spreadsheets and that we are prepared fully to do Razorfen Downs on the next episode, which that'll be fun. That'll be tomorrow. Razorfen Downs, and there should be no problems with that because it's a bye week. So tomorrow I have a normal open day. It's as open as a Saturday for me. As open as this whole week has been for me since I got very, very lucky with the weather. Cannot complain at all about any of that. Any raids today, says the human. Yeah, so this is cool. I'm glad we finished another zone, and we are so close. So we have 2, maybe 3 episodes. Because Razorfen Downs, that's 1 episode. Even with turning it in, all that stuff, that's 1. If we end up needing a transition kind of episode, then we can do that. So that's why I said 2, maybe 3. So if we need a transition episode, then that will be the only one we do. Now, I don't want to do one. I want to just blast everything out for Razorfen Downs tomorrow, so that then the next day we can commit to doing a Scarlet Monastery, and if we don't get a full clear group together, then we can spread Scarlet Monastery over 2 days, because we know there is a second part, but the quests are much less for Alliance, so we're not going to have to do that other thing where we go travel around and go to Alterac or whatever, like we had to do in the other one. We're just going to be traveling back when we're all done. We'll have to go to Ironforge to turn in one of them, and I don't even remember where this other one will end up having us go. We'll find that out now, today. So that means that, and we'll probably have 1 episode. Yeah, we'll have 2 episodes off. If my job is back open, which I think it probably will be. On Monday, I'm not 100% sure because I'm kind of in this little isolated pocket. All right, so they need wool. I don't think I have wool though. No. Yeah, for some reason I'm short on wool. The silk to Darnassus is what I want. So this guy, we're gonna turn in both there and pick up Mythology of the Titans. And then we're going to get on the flight path and fly up to South Shore. A little traveling for us today. Alright.
My wind riders are trained to fly quickly through the hot Baron's air.
Okay.
Pleased to meet you, Paladin. My name's Hratha. I lead the Reclaimers Incorporated. My guild and I specialise in acquiring lost goods. We usually hire brave adventurers and send them off to finish tasks for those who aren't able or don't have the time.
Very good.
Business is booming, Greek Contessa, and I don't have a lot of time for questions. If you got business with the Reclaimers, then let's hear it. If not, I'm going to have to ask you to talk to me of underlings that are adept enough at taking care of things around here.
Ah, the Karnitol business in Desolace. Excellent. So, the chest was destroyed, but the items are all here, huh? Well, I'll let him be the judge of that. One good part about this business I got going on here is that if they're not satisfied, I can tell them to shove it. They're relying on us to find their stuff, not make sure it's all pretty and in good shape when they get it back. Good work, adventurer. Let's see about getting you paid.
So these are better armor by 6 points, which is not very much, but the stats are like a side grade, but I'd be trading in stamina agility for spirit, which I'm not going to do that. So that was useless pauldrons.
Well, naturally, Contessa, business is booming. The sounds of anvils being struck rings throughout Ironforge. The bellows blow, the fire's hot, and my wife's making me a pie for dessert after tonight's dinner. Could life be any grander?
Ah, the package for Leftwich from Desolace. Excellent. I appreciate the work and your timeliness, adventurer. Glad to have you aboard for at least this small bit of work. I got your payment right here. Let it be known that Reclaimers Inc. always pays well for a hard week's work.
So that one is an upgrade. That one is a bracer's upgrade. They actually don't stick out from under the gloves, so it's not an upgrade in the same way. Alright, so we did those two, and now we need to pick up Mythology of the Titans.
The future is inevitable. We hurl ourselves towards it like falling raindrops to the great sea. But perhaps, by studying the past, we can know what to expect and be better prepared for the unknown. Before dire troubles fell upon Lordaeron, there was a bastion of knowledge tucked away in the Tirisfal Glades. It is rumored that a book called Mythology of the Titans was housed in the library of the old monastery. Bring it to me, and perhaps together we can unlock the secrets of the past.
So that's also another annoying situation, because that necklace is a little bit better, but it's spirit and stam. And because I have this lower level necklace that was a bind on equip random drop, like that quest necklace would give me 2 extra stamina and 6 spirit, but I would lose 5 agility. I'm not willing to lose 5 agility for that, so trash is what we have here. Alright, let's go ahead and smelt and then mess around with blacksmithing. Probably gonna have to go buy some green dye, and then we're gonna get on this and fly to South Shore. And then from there, we have to go to Menethil. Yeah, we have to. We're stuck to. We're stuck on this channel. Oops, a little bit longer. Yeah, we're just over 2 hours right now. It's probably going to be, because of all the traveling, like about 15 or so more minutes. There's just, to turn in the quests, we have to do some. And then because of that Silk quest in Darnassus that I want us to do, it's going to be a pinch there. Alright, so there's nothing that we can really, we have to, oh, I can make golden scale leggings, because that doesn't require, that's a 16 leggings. What do I think I've already looked at this. That's also 16 strength and stam, strength and spirit, nah. Or I can just build the iron bracers. I just need 1 green dye. Don't think I have anything yet. This guy maybe has it. The clothier definitely does. I hate this.
Welcome.
I hate that you need the green dye to build these things. It's super duper annoying. And if you're gonna make me have to use green dye for so much stuff, at least, like, sell green dye at the blacksmith vendor. Okay, it's at the bottom part of the peace sign. I gotta remember that. Alright, so we just need to build 1, and then we should... Do I have any recipes? I don't think I do. Okay. You,
What
blacksmith
fun. I
man,
hope you didn't
train
come
me.
all the way to the Great
Glinting
Gorge
steel
just to see
dagger,
war.
the green iron halberd, and
Tell me what
golden
it is I
scale
can do
bracers.
for you.
So the glinting steel dagger takes 10 steel, which and a bunch of other crap, so that's not going to happen. So what instead? These, now golden scale bracers, they just take steel. That's good. And heavy stones. So 5. That takes 20. An 18 with a lot of armor. Oh, and it requires green leather armor underneath. Well, that's trash. So I'm not going to be building that. Also, it's not even better really than what I have. The golden scale leggings, yeah, we already looked at that. So those take 6, whereas these only take 5, but they take the heavy grinding stones. So let's go ahead and build any more heavy grinding stones I might have. I can build 4 more. I also have those golden skeleton keys. I kinda sort of. Alright, and then what do we have here for the... So the bracers takes 5, and I have 5. I can build 5, so that's good. So I need, to build the 5 steel, I need, well, I'm gonna need 25 steel. So I need 25, let's sell some of these. I need 25, whatchamacallit, coal. I think you can only buy a 20... No, you can only buy a 10 stack of coal. What? Okay. Alright, so I built... And that's the only downside is you now have to smelt. Oh, I don't have 25 iron? What? Oh, that's the flaw in my plan. I don't have 25 iron. Well, whatever. I'll do as much as I can. So we're gonna go to... I'll at least do 20. Yeah. Yeah, because there's no point in doing the iron, all the iron like that yet. So I'll be able to do 4. So I bought a little bit too much coal. 5 extra pieces of coal that I don't need. I mean, I could save it in my bag, I guess, and then I'll just toss it if I need. It's 5 silver of stuff. I do not want to smelt all the steel. But yeah, so all you do is you just buy coal, and you mix the coal in with the steel, with the iron, and I guess that's how you make steel. Add carbon to iron. I don't know, I'm not a blacksmith or a metallurgist or anybody that, even a welder or anything. I don't really work with that, but I believe I've read stuff of that nature before. I need to put this, too, in my bag. I got serious stuff we need to put away in the bank. So we should swing by the bank before we fly out of here, too. Alright, last one. Okay, I'm going to stop that for now. And now we're going to build these green golden scale bracers, which are just a 91 bracer. Just a boring old white bracer. But it will help us increase the level of our blacksmithing. We just need the heck out of some iron. So I guess that's good. Out of this whole experience, we gained 5 points of blacksmithing. Yeah, blacksmithing is just such a pain. Such a pain to level up. Okay.
What can I get
Now we will
for you
sell
today?
some of this stuff. How much does coal cost? Oh, it costs 4 each. Yeah, that makes me even want to keep it even more. That solid stone is waiting. Okay, now to the bank, and then we will fly. So we've done all of our little side tasks. So now we need to fly to South Shore to turn in the Down the Scarlet Path quest. And then we need to fly back to Menethil so that we can take a boat over to Darnassus, where we can turn in the Silk quest. And that will allow us... Is that the auction house? That's the bank.
Here there.
Okay, let's stash some more of this stuff. Boom, boom. Put the leather in there. I guess I'm saving coal. I'm going to keep this mithril for now, even though I don't really need it. I'm going to keep this Nobunaga or whatever. Alright. The beat stick that we have. Alright, looking good, looking good. We are behind for sure, because on leveling up, we're level 42, so that means we should be around level 210 with any of our stuff, which is about where we're at with mining, but it is not where we're at with blacksmithing, so we are a little behind, Alright, now we're gonna fly to South Shore.
Wildhammer dwarves might have fast steeds.
I think there's probably a mod also that tells you the time that it will take to
I
get.
think not.
Alright, so, and we're at 2:11 right now, so this is a little bit of a longer episode, but, you know, it is what it is. Alright, so Hratha, we turned that one in. Then we just came back and we turned in the Karnitol Shipwreck. Cool. And then we also turned in the Reagents for the Reclaimers. Nice. Only one quest to go. And while here, we just also picked up Mythology of the Titans, which is one of the 2 quests available for Scarlet Monastery. So we just picked up Mythology of the Titans. It's all ready to go. The other one being, which we're also going to get on this episode, is going to be In the Name of the Light. So that's what's also going to get picked up. We'll get that one in a minute. Now, as far as this goes, A Host of Evil happens outside. The only one we have is Bring the Light. But Scourge of the Downs and Extinguishing the Idol happen inside. They are the little escort and everything quest that we need. We have to be careful about it. And then A Host of Evil is one that we will do outside of the dungeon. When I start looking for a group, we will talk about that quest, and I might even start working on it. We did manage to solo a big chunk of that outside, but those 3 are all basically in and around the dungeon, and Bring the Light we already have. So we are all set up for Razorfen Downs. We just have this other quest to pick up in South Shore. The only reason why we're doing it right now is because we need to... is it going to fly us this way, then that way? That's annoying. It probably will. So yeah, we're going to fly to South Shore, then come back here. Alright, so I don't know what you guys think about this idea of this kind of retro gaming thing. I think it's an interesting thing, and I think it lasts... I'm going to keep talking about it because that's the kick I'm on today, and we have a little bit of time to kill still. So just looking at, like, further games of the year, let's go down the list. So let's continue. So I made it to around 1981. So once we get to 1982, the game of the year, or the highest rated game, is a 7.3, which is Pitfall. So they're also highly rated are Dig Dug, The Hobbit, and Q*bert. Now if you look at the actual lists, we have Pitfall listed, but not rated highly, are Joust, Mrs. Pac-Man, and Robotron 2084. So I feel like this is a little bit of a tricky, because I feel like now the Hobbit Atari game, I don't know if that's any good, but I am kind of curious. But Q*bert and Dig Dug are definitely classics that I played, and so is Pitfall. And Joust, Mrs. Pac-Man are as well. Robotron 2084 I'm not familiar with, so I don't know. So that one I could see us playing almost all of the combined things. 1983, the highest rated game is Dragon's Lair. They also have Mario Bros, the arcade game. Bomberman, Star Wars, Archon, Mule, Mappy, Tapper, Space Ace, and Track and Field. All listed. This is, again, pre-Nintendo, but we're getting close, because I think Nintendo is 84, 85. I think 85. So, they have Mule, Star Wars, Archon, and Load Runner listed as the top 4. So those are all listed. Star Wars, Archon, Mule. Now, Load Runner is not listed, so I would think we could slap in Load Runner, but then also out of curiosity's sake, playing the Dragon's Lair game, because I remember playing that in the arcade back in the day. And the arcade version of Mario Bros, playing that just out of curiosity as well. I think I've played it before. I'm not sure. If not, I'm sure I've played it on some kind of collection. But now, like, already, we are getting to games that I could actually see playing, having fun with. And this phase of the retro gaming would be interesting. Where's this other guy at? Oh, he's upstairs in the inn, I remember now. It's a shame that there are no ports out of the South Shore. Alright, let's go talk to this insane zealot. Oh, he's not insane.
What can I do for you?
What goes there? What do you want from me? The letter of commendation? Yeah, there's nothing to read.
Brother Anton still spreads the word of the Scarlet Crusade.
Oh my.
See you later.
It says he breaks the seal in Anton's letter and begins to read it. It looks more like he's listening to it. By the light, this is not good. There's something you don't understand, Contessa. Okay, he puts the letter on the table. It says he throws Anton's letter down on the table, and now he's burning it. He puts his torch and he burns it.
I once served the Scarlet Crusade with honor, loyalty, and pride.
Let him talk
I
as we
believe
run.
their cause to be a noble one, to rid Azeroth of the undead. But as I spent time at the monastery in Tirisfal Glades, I realized that their grasp on reality was slipping. They now think everyone is plagued who doesn't wear the tabard of the Crusade. Innocent men and women were tortured because they were supposedly plagued. The Scarlet Crusade must be crushed in the name of the light. You, adventurer, must destroy the deranged regime.
Where would you like to fly to?
Cool. Alright, so we're going back to Menethil Harbor now. So yeah, basically, he's saying, I was Scarlet Crusade. They're freaking bonkers, man. And, if you want to do anything about it, then we want you to kill all of these people, basically. Destroy the regime. And out of that, we will get a two-handed axe, which we can use. It's a 38-8 with a 20 strength, 10 stamina. That is finally an upgrade. So by completing this, we will finally get Bonebiter. That is finally an upgrade over Varigan's Fist, the paladin weapon. It will finally be taken out. Oh my gosh. So at the very, very least, after completing Scarlet Crusade, Scarlet Monastery, we will get it. We'll get get it taken care of. Alright, so last one we just did. We just turned in down the Scarlet Crusade, and we are freaking done with this zone. I love that. And then we did pick up In the Name of the Light. Did I mark that through? No, I didn't. Okay, so In the Name of the Light, we've now picked up. There are just those few. Those are the only two for Alliance. So this is a very short list. And you have to run all 4 dungeons for it. I guess you must fly across the bay because it's a pretty quick run. Now we need to go to that boat. Can we make it there in time? That's the one we need over there. Not. It looks like he's running off it, so he probably just got there, but maybe I'll get lucky. Luckily, the horse is fast. Okay, we made it. This guy.
This dock here? Well, you can catch the ship that goes to that night elf place. What's its name? Aberdeen, I think. I don't really know for sure. I just load and unload stuff.
Alright, so this is the last journey we're on, is sailing across this boat here so that we can turn in that quest, and then when we are in Aberdeen, we'll go turn in donation to Silk, and then we'll go back out to the flight path, and I will not make you watch it, but we will fly from Hratha Village over to Ratchet, and then off camera, that's not Ratchet, to Ratchet, and then we have to go here to Razorfen Downs. So what you will see me doing off camera is marching down to Razorfen Downs. You won't see me doing that because I'll be getting a group together. When I get there, I might pick up a Host of Evil without you guys because you've already seen me pick that quest up, and start. I might even start working on it. I'm not sure. We're gonna have to see how that goes. If I'm just waiting on a group, I might. Or you'll see me wait on one together. I mean, that's not the hardest one to get a group for. It's kind of out of the way, but it's a little bit different because by then everybody has access to Ratchet. And it's really not that big a deal. Just that walk down there is a bit of a pain in the butt. It's actually maybe a little closer to come from Fairless or whatever. Oh, and then we have to go. You can either fly or take the other boat across. That boat is pulling off right now, so it'll be easier, I guess, for us to just fly. Alright, so because we just missed the boat that would take us across the bay, we will go to the flight path. It's a free flight. It's not really that long. I forgot that this takes us to Aberdeen and not to Hratha Village. One extra little mini journey added in there.
The hippogriff is a noble beast, proud and swift. They are an honor to train and can quickly take their rider a great distance.
Yeah, so, I think this is a fun idea. Even right now, hitting by 1983, I'd still be interested in that. 1984, we have Excite Bike. I played the heck out of that as a kid. The original King's Quest. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, never played it. That's the highest rated one with a 7.8. Pitfall 2. The original Deus Ex Machina. I've played the later ones. Ice Climber, Balloon Fight, Spy vs. Spy. Is that a Mad Magazine thing? Paperboy and Circus Charles. Now, which of those are actually award winners? Elite and Marble Madness, which aren't even listed on the 2. So that one, I would say, like, I'm curious. I would say we could play Elite. I don't even know what that is. Marble Madness, I played the heck out of it as a kid. I used to have that game on Nintendo, so I'd say let's play that one. And then some of these other ones, like, I would just say, like, I'd want to go and have a little mini session, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm curious what that game looked like. Excite Bike, I would play that again. That game was fun. The original King's Quest, I'd play some of that on there. That's fun too. Ice Climber, Balloon Fight, Spy vs. Spy, Paperboy. Now, Circus Charles, I have no idea what that is, but by then, I'd say this is... Because this is the year before Nintendo's coming out. We're on the precipice. Then you have jumping up to an 8.9 the original Super Mario Bros. So, I can see how that gets there. Super popular game. Classic. I would definitely play it on our camera or whatever. Now the other high rated ones are Little Computer People. Battle City. I've never heard of any of those two, and I don't know that I even care to want to add episodes. King's Quest 2, that game is... I mean, I would imagine it's cool. Those are like action point and click. Like, we could beat those whole games in one playthrough, which would be kind of fun. Gauntlet? Oh my gosh, that game's dope. Commando, Gunsmoke,
Hail, friend.
International Karate.
A moment of your time, if I may. We have endured...
As with most other fabrics, our stocks of silk are at an all-time low. Our stores are such that we'd only need 60 pieces of silk from you total. We should be able to reach our goal with the support of others. A benevolent gift such as silk, might I add, would certainly increase your local standing in the community. If you have the 60 pieces of silk cloth on you and are ready to donate them, I'm able to take them from you now.
Wonderful. We thank you for your generous donation, adventurer.
You're welcome. Alright, so we're just going to walk back to the flight path. So that right there, I would say there's some interesting ones. Now, the ones they have listed on here are Gauntlet, which I agree, and that would be fun to play. Ghosts and Goblins, I'd play that again, even though that wasn't on that list. Super Mario Bros. Tetris, I don't know how Tetris is not on the list. That's a classic. I'd play some, but, I mean, there are, like, literally people that essentially just professionally play Tetris, so I would just give a small. And then Ultima 4, Quest of the Avatar made that list, and yet not the other. So I'd be interested in looking at Ultima. So yeah, these are just, all of this is just an interesting thing. Favorite of Illume is now unlocked for us. I don't know what that quest is all about, but... Alright everybody, we did it. We have another zone in the pipe, 5x5, along with another episode in the pipe, 5x5. If you make it throughout this episode, please tell me what you think about this side project for the Patreon, or even possibly for YouTube regular. Maybe, like I said, like an early release. Thank you everyone so much for watching, for listening, for tuning in, and for making this channel one of the coolest things out there. See everybody on the next episode of Lore of Warcraft.